The Indian telecom story is one which sees so much opportunity. It's almost unthinkable about the changes that we've seen over the last few years. From 2G to 3G, 4G, 5G, what exactly is the future? But behind all the technology that we use is a real hard story of design and manufacture of state-of-the-art telecommunications. And that's where Qualcomm really comes into the Indian picture. They develop some of the finest telecommunications solutions, whether it's chipsets or processing, or so much more. And their vision in terms of the future of telecommunications is something that has an impact in India. We have Cristiano Amon with us, the president and CEO of Qualcomm. It's great to have you over here.
Happy to be here.
Your company, of course, has a huge history in India, with 2 decades on with R&D and manufacture and a lot of that. We'll talk about that in a moment. But I'm really curious, and I think our viewers are as well, that we are now into 5G, and we love it. We see our videos on our phones, and we do a lot. What is 6G going to mean for you and me?
Yes. So, every generation of wireless, it's about solving a problem, right? So when we move, and I think we started with 2G, it was about, can we get high quality communication and make sure everyone in the world can have a cell phone? 3G was about connecting that on the internet. 4G was about broadband and making the phone into a computer. And I think 5G was about making sure that everyone could have unlimited data rates and ability to support mission-critical communications and going into other industries. 6G is the connectivity for the age of AI. So what 6G is going to do, besides providing faster, more reliable, faster response, low latency communication, and make it cheaper, the networks are going to be sensing networks. And that's going to be incredibly important for the age of AI, because the networks, we're now in the era of the networks understanding the context that the communications is inserted, and a lot of the data that's going to be important for AI. And that leads into this whole conversation about how AI is evolving, and I think communications is going to evolve as well, and that's what 6G is all about.
So I use Grok and I use Gemini, and I think both are fantastic. Some work better in some areas than the other one. 5 years from now, how would these evolve as the technology changes, both with 6G and the speed and capability of some of the processors, for example, that Qualcomm is building?
Yes, I think it's going to be faster than 5 years from now. I think some of the revolution is about to start, like right now.
What's that revolution?
And I think what's happening now is when you think about the history of computers, and especially the computers that we use as humans, right? Yeah. I think I can probably bet that the computer that you use the most is your smartphone, and is your inseparable device. So what's happening as AI gets developed in the data center and is getting ready into commercial applications, we as a company, we build AI and we build the processor where the humans are. And that's going to be in your phone, on your PC, in your car, in your future a smart device. And we're starting to see how AI is fundamentally changing those computers, because one of the many capabilities of AI is to understand us. We don't have to learn how to use the computer anymore. The AI understands what we say, understands what we write, understands what we see. And I think we're starting to see the beginning of what we call agentic experience, agents that are going to be the new apps. And we're going to see that happen in all the devices. And the best thing for me to do is to provide you some examples. So we have our phones, and we have the devices that we wear. We as humans already decided what we wear. We wear glasses, we wear watches, jewelry, so those devices are going to become smart. So we've seen like incredible momentum right now with smart glasses. And a great example is what we're doing with Meta, the Meta Ray-Ban smart glasses. Google and Qualcomm and Samsung have a project coming up. We have exciting projects, and I'll tell you later about what we're doing here in India with companies that are going to be building this. So now, what you see the glass see, and therefore the AI see. There's cameras. So I'll give you an example how those experiences are going to start to happen right now with AI. Let's say that you have your banking app, and you are used to, you pull up your phone and you say, you start the app, the screen come up, you see your balance, you see your last transactions, and then you have a bill, you want to make a payment, and you're gonna make a payment. Or you can simply have your smart glasses and you get a bill, the bill's right in front of you, and you say, you ask the AI, what's my balance? And this is your balance. I would like to pay my bill. Can you just pay this for me and notify me when it's done? And it's going to be a completely different interaction.
So you're looking at a bill.
Yes.
And your voice commanding your smart glasses to actually pay it. It's
Yes.
linked up to your bank account or your UPI transaction here in
Yes.
India, and it goes,
Yes.
and that's it.
Yes, those are agentic
You aren't
experience.
pushing buttons.
You're not going to be pushing buttons, and they're going to be a natural interaction. Because now, what AI does, all of the devices that we use every day, as they get enabled with AI, they understand the world the way we understand it. They see and understand the image, they understand our voice, understand our text. Another example, it's how things are going to change, is how we're going to interact with our car, for example. You know, Qualcomm Snapdragon digital chassis, we're privileged to be now working with virtually every car brand in the world, and we're providing, connecting the car to the cloud, those beautiful screens that you see, the digital cockpit, the processors that drive assisted driving. What those digital cockpits have created, now the car is also a computing surface. Like your phone is a computing surface, your laptop, now the car. We see now users get entertained from the car, they communicate from the car, they can get productive on the car, and the car is also natural for you to have a voice interaction. Yeah. And also natural for you to use cameras that exist in the car to see the world around you. So in that car, AI is going to develop with completely new agentic experience. We're starting to see that today, and I'll give you some examples. We're seeing AI models running on the car, that the car company trained that model on the entire service database of the car. Something happened with your car, you just ask the car, what happened? They said, this is what happened. Right. And you need to fix this. You need to replace this. Can I schedule this for you? Or you're going to say, I am going to drive from this city to that city. If you see any historical thing along the way, can you tell me the story about it? You can be listening to radio and you get a news, maybe a news from you, and you say, I have a question about this news, and you start chatting with the model. So those are going to be new, completely experienced, and I don't think it's going to be 5 years from now. I think we're about to see it starting it's just right in front of us. We're going to see that transition.
That's interesting, because I use Android Auto all the time. I love driving myself, and I use it all the time. And maps have transformed my experience of getting from point A to point B. Yes, you can communicate, but it's not very efficient at the moment. Voice recognition, depending on the head unit, it varies. The quality varies. How will that actually get better for a large number of segments very fast?
Because now you're going to be communicating with those AI models. Right. And I think, and what we also see is this AI models are becoming very specialized. And so they are both becoming agents, connecting with different services, but they're becoming specialized. And you're going to have models, multiple models running that do different things. For example, as I gave an example, there's going to be some that is going to be taking care of everything on the car. You can say, you use voice, and you can say, change the temperature, open that window, or do things, or things about the car in itself. You can have another model that you can do searches and so forth. And I think we're going to see that happening with wearables. Yeah. We're going to see that happening with cars. We're going to see that happen with phones. And we're going to see that happen with PCs. But it doesn't stop there. The whole industrial sector, it's going to that transformation with AI. For example, when you think about glasses, and we talk about consumer examples, we have some interesting partnerships with different enterprises. For example, in the oil and gas industry, that you can get an operator, and he has a glass, and he's doing a particular task. And the glass is seeing the task and can guide him on every step. It can help him, do things a little better. It can answer a question, how do I operate this equipment? That's going to be true when you think about healthcare applications, education applications. I think the opportunities are endless.
But let me ask you this, and this is a sort of personal reflection for you. You speak passionately about AI. We are all hooked onto AI one way, shape, or form, or will be. Aren't you worried at a certain stage that AI is getting too smart? When I ask AI to write me a poem, it's absolutely incredible. It offers realism and the ability to think, which sometimes I believe most of us don't have. I know this doesn't strictly have to do with Qualcomm, but since you are so passionate about technology, do you not believe that there are certain limits of AI which we need to consider?
Look, it's a great question, and thank you for asking the question. And I like to answer that question talking about two different aspects. One aspect is technology, and that's the approach that we always took at Qualcomm. Like, for example, we're incredibly proud how mobile technology we had invented democratized the internet and actually helped bridge the digital divide. Like today, every nation, everybody has a phone, right? And I think the role of AI is really to augment the human. I think because our company main business, yes, we are building products for the data center. We're super excited about what we're doing data center, but our main business starts where the humans are. I think our approach with technology is always with the human at the center. We have to use technology to augment the human capabilities, and that's how we think about AI. It's about democratizing knowledge. It's about making sure that people have access to the information that they need and be able to do things better and be able to do more things. There's another aspect, which I think is a valid concern, that every technology, everything, you can be used for good, you can use for bad.
Right.
And I think it's probably the role of many companies to make sure that you are taking steps to make sure that you actually use the technology the way it was intended to be utilized. So I think those are valid concerns, and I think it's actually good to see so many governments and so many companies preoccupied with this.
I wanted to get your views on digital empowerment and telecom networks. In India, I think it's revolutionary that down to the last village at 16,000 feet, way up in the Himalayas, you very often got wireless technology. It works quite well. It's empowering because every other person is connected using a digital interface, whether to their banks. I use an app, and everybody here probably does, called DigiLocker, where I've got, I've got my Aadhaar card details, my driving license details, my PAN card details, etc. It's all stored for me. In a country which has been poor at one stage, and perhaps still is, how is telecom and connectivity all about empowerment?
Look, it's 100% about empowerment. I remember in the early days of Qualcomm, we used to look at, it was very interesting. They were like very famous. There was those graphics, those charts from the ITU talking about telephone penetration in GDP opportunities. And this was the days of telephony, the telephone before wireless. And it's well understood, if you empower people with connectivity, with computing, with access to knowledge via the internet, you create economic activity, you create opportunity. And I think we have seen that. We have seen, the transformation, I will dare to say, in the transformation of India, to where India is today and where India is going, the connectivity and smartphones and the mobile internet, it was one of important component among many others. And I think the same needs to be applied when we think about AI.
Yeah.
Like, we should be working very hard to democratize the technology and make sure that everyone has access to. I think it's bridging the digital divide. It's well understood that it actually is going to promote equal development. And I think technology has this role and will continue to have this role.
You met the Prime Minister today. He is very keenly interested in technology, all sorts of technology. I know he's very interested in space technology. That interests me a great deal. But what did he say about telecom and some of the new processors or some of the new opportunities which exist in India?
Yes, it was a great meeting. It's about telecoms, about computing, it's about AI. I was very privileged to have a great conversation with the Prime Minister. For me, it's a great pleasure. I'm always inspired by the Prime Minister. It's my third meeting I had with him. But what is interesting about this meeting in particular is the vision for India in the India AI mission and the India semiconductor mission. There is a great intersection with Qualcomm. Look, we have been in India for 2 decades. There's so many things we have been doing in India. We're very proud of our partnerships here in all of the sectors, from automotive to PC to smartphone. We have continued to develop, but those specific missions is the opportunity to create an ecosystem in India. It's an ecosystem for the age of AI, because as I mentioned at the beginning of our conversation, AI is this disrupting factor that is going to change industries. It's going to change the phone industry. It's going to create a whole new industry of personal AI devices. It will change the automotive industry, it's already digital first. It will change industry, will change manufacturing, will change warehousing, logistics, healthcare, retail, and the opportunity to, on the policies of the India government, to create an ecosystem in India is win-win.
Right.
And we're excited about that. We talk about how to take steps into create an ecosystem in India, for India, and also with the opportunity to serve the globe. It's a lot of work, but we're excited to be with the Prime Minister on this mission.
One of the big concerns, of course, has been the availability of semiconductors. I remember during the COVID period, there was a shortfall in the supply, and the auto industry, which all Indian car manufacturers had huge numbers of orders, but they weren't able to deliver cars because semiconductors and chips were just not available. There's also this huge concern about resilient supply chains, and that's linked to the availability of semiconductors. How can that be assured, and what is your vision of that in India, which has faced problems and concerns?
Look, it's a great question, and it's not just an issue for India. It's like a global issue. We feel empowered to have this conversation because we're one of the largest fabless company. We don't have a manufacturing. We design our chips, and our chips are manufactured by foundries. Yeah. So we're like at the center of this issue of wanting a more resilient semiconductor supply chain. And I actually see this in what India's doing with optimism. I actually see this globally. For example, the United States is taking very important steps. The administration is taking important steps to bring more and more capacity of manufacturing in the United States. I think independent of what anybody will say, semiconductors is so important that you have to have a geographically distributed and resilient manufacturing. And I think the efforts to bring that in India is also very important. Actually, we have been working with companies like Tata that has been investing in semiconductor manufacturers. We have started that partnership. We'll be happy to be a customer, and that is true for all of the manufacturing of semiconductors that is happening in different locations. Nothing will make the industry more resilient and more capable to have a diversified supply chain.
What about your R&D in India? What exactly are engineers and others in R&D in Qualcomm in India doing? What is it that they're inventing or manufacturing or developing?
Look, Qualcomm India it's an incredible part of Qualcomm. I think we've been in India for 20 years, and when we look of our global company and all of the locations we have, we actually look at Qualcomm India no different than we look for example, at Qualcomm in our headquarters. And I think what separates us from many of our peers is we do everything we do in Qualcomm, we also do here. What we actually have is advanced R&D, both R&D in hardware and software. When we look at our chips, some of the most advanced chips in the world, that as much as designed in the United States as is designed in India. And we look at that as an inseparable part of Qualcomm. And we, as I said, we have been here for 20 years, and it's been a great partnership, and not only had enabled Qualcomm to be a great company, but it creates an opportunity for us to enable an ecosystem of other companies here in India, and we plan to continue to do so.
Just one or two more questions. I'm fascinated by the process of the design of chips, and we all use Snapdragon, chips one way or the other in one phone or the other, but obviously you want more computing power.
Yes.
You want less utilization of energy, of battery.
Yes.
So it has to be incredibly efficient. And then you need to feed into everything that you've discussed, the future of 6G, more data coming in, more ability to process. How much of a challenge is it to think up and to actually prototype the next generation of chips?
I can't thank you enough for asking this question. And I wish, I get this question more often. Because this is the magic of Qualcomm. This is where our engineering magic comes to life. One of the things that we're incredibly proud is the fact that we actually have our engineer starts on the phone. Because the 4 engineers in the semiconductor industry, the phone is the most unforgiving device. When I talk about we're going to give you with 5G 10 gigabits of data, I have to have now the energy that I used to be providing kilobits of data or megabits of data to transfer 10 gigabits of data. When you want to play a game and you want graphics with ray tracing in your phone with the same type of experience that you see on a gaming PC, I need to do this on the phone. I have to now have multi-billion parameter models running of AI. But one thing with all of this technology never change in the phone. It cannot be hot. You're going to touch your face with it. You cannot have thermals. I cannot put a fan. I cannot put liquid cooling. It cannot be hot. The battery has to last all day, and it has to fit in your pocket. Because if I violate those rules, that's not a phone. So that requires incredible amount of innovation, generation after generation, to be able to do that. And I think that DNA is what made us successful in building PCs now that last multiple days of battery life, making cars that have server-type and cloud-type computational, but it doesn't take away from the battery range, and now even building robots that the battery will last all day. And I think that's our DNA.
Mr. Amon, it's been wonderful speaking to you. It's a great look at the technology that you're working through, but also your vision of 6G and AI, where it's all headed. There's so much to think about. Wonderful having you. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.